Hey friends, g'day! And we're looking at how to practice chords, like all the chords, right? And so, hey, I'm Glenn, I'm from jazzpianolessons.online, and let's get straight into it. So here's a way you can practice all of your chords. I actually got 4 different ways you can have a go at it, all right? So the first way is to go around the cycle of fourths with whatever type of chord that you're working on. So let's say you're working on your major 7 chords, and for this one I might just do root position chords. Okay, so here I'm going to play C major 7, and then I'm going to play F major 7, B flat major 7, E flat, and just go around the cycle. All right. And it's a good way to practice those chords, and it's not just going up by semitone. Okay, that's kind of why you would do that, right? So here's another example. Let's say I practice that in a axis of a third and an axis of a 7th voicing. All right, so here's my axis of a third voicing. When I go to the 7th voicing, so what it is it's 1 5 7 3. So it's the 3 on the outside, if that kind of makes sense, right? All right, so the axis of a third there, and then I'm going to go the axis of a 7th, which is the 7th on the outside, okay? And I'm just going to keep the 5, the 1 and the 5 with my left hand, okay? So I'm going to swap. Now watch what my right hand does as I go around the cycle. Goes down, so this guy goes down 1 whole step, and then the other guy goes down 1 whole step, or a tone, right? There's another way to think of it, right? And it just keeps going, following that same pattern until you get back to the beginning, right? So C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, getting a little bit low here, B, E. I could maybe I need to head on up the octave there, all right? Actually, by the end, I definitely need to head on back up the octave, right? So then you could, instead of using the axis of third to a 7th voicing, you could start with the 7th and do the 3rd, So there's the same voicings, but I just started on the other 2. So I'm literally practicing every major 7 chord in those particular voicings when I do that, all right? So there's only 12 notes, right? So whatever type of chord you work on, if you're working on those 12, those chords for 12 different ways, right? You are literally playing every single one that's possible. If you're working on 13th chords, if you are doing that with around the cycle, you get to do them all. So let's say I do 13th chords. Here I've got a G13, right? So that just means if I started over here, right, and then continuing on the cycle, right? So there's G13, here's C13, here's F13, and I could continue on and practice them all like that. Now I changed my voicings when I did that. You could not change the voicing if you wanted to. Keep it the same voicing. So you're practicing those different ones as you do that. So that's the first way of practicing, right? So just whatever chord you're working on, whatever voicing you're working on, practice them around the cycle of fourths, okay? If you've never started playing jazz first, practice them in root position, and then go check out some of my tutorials or somebody else's tutorials, anyone's tutorials. There's lots of it out on the internet, which is great, of different types of voicings. I love the axis of a third, axis of the 7th voicing. The A and the B voicing is what I call. The A voicing is 3, 5, 7, 9. So if I'm playing C major 7, 3, 5, 7, 9, I consider to be a C major, even though it looks like E minor, right? If I put a C bass note down the bottom, it's a C major 9. 3, 5, 7, 9, that gives me my A voicing. Sometimes instead of the 5, I'll use the 6, which is the 13. Or, you might add in your altered notes, sharp 9s and all that kind of stuff too, if you want to, right? So that's the A voicing, and my B voicing is another one that I really like, and that is one where it starts on the 7th. All right, so there's C, major 13, C major 13, okay? That's just C major 9. And I would think of either of those two chords there as simply a C major chord, right? All right, so anyway, I've got other tutorials on about that, so let's keep going. The other way to practice, and they are getting a little bit more complicated. The first one is just practice the same type of chord. So if you're practicing the dominants, keep playing the dominants, right? Okay. This one is to play the 2, 5, 1 of each key, but make each key go down a whole step or a whole tone, right? So we're playing the whole tone scales, if that kind of makes sense. Let me show you how this works. Now there's only 2 whole tone scales. There's 1 chromatic scale, right? Because you're playing every single note. Just if you start on C, that's C chromatic scale. If I play the same note, start on E flat, that's E flat chromatic scale. Now there's only 2 whole tone scales, right? Whole tone, going up a tone, and you just keep going up a tone. So there's 1 whole tone scale. If I start on the D flat, okay, that's the other whole tone scale. If I start in a different spot, it's just the same thing again, all right? So if I start on the F and want to play the F whole tone scale, all right, it's just the same as the one where I started on the D flat, right? So it's what I'm trying to say, there's only 2 of them, right? So here's what you do. You play your 2, 5, 1, and then when you're on your major chord, you then turn your major chord into a minor chord, and it becomes the new 2. All right. So you play. So here's a 2, 5, 1 in the key of C, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, and then after you've done that, you go to the C minor 7, and that becomes your new 2. So now it's the 2 of B flat major. So we're going to do 2, 5, 1 of B flat major, C minor 7, F7. B flat. So that's kind of how that works, right? So I'm going to play some of that. So here's D minor 7, G7, C major 7. I'm going to now go to a C minor 7, F7, B flat. And then, so now I'm on B flat major 7, right? So I'm going to then go to B flat minor 7. And it just continues on, right? Here's an A flat major 7. So now I go to A flat minor. And it's a nice way to go around the cycle, right? Now you have to do it twice, right? As in you do that, you do all of those, and then you go up a semitone or down a semitone, doesn't really matter which way you go, and do the next one, right? There is a kind of a similar one where you can kind of go like D minor 7, G7, C major 7, and instead of changing the 3 and the 7, so it becomes the minor, you can actually then go up a semitone with your left hand, and then you have C sharp minor, so you end up in the key of B, right? So it's going down by semitone, right? D minor 7, G7, C major 7, go to C sharp minor 7, and then you've got to then do the rest, right? So C sharp minor, F sharp 7, B major 7, I'll go up now, now I'm C minor. All right, so that's going down by the chromatic scale. That's another way to do it. I probably should have put that in, but anyway, I've talked about it now anyway, so that's another free bonus tip for you guys, all right, an extra one there. Okay, 2, 5, 1, then around the cycle of fourths, and this is actually probably where I started actually. My first jazz piano teacher said, hey, play these chords, do it around the cycle of fourths as 2, 5, 1s. Okay, so kind of the same thing that we're doing. Now again, you could, whatever voicing you're working on, if you're working on drop 2 voicings, work on those. If you're working on root position, just play those as well. Right? I'm going to play these in root position, okay? So we're going around the cycle of fourths, but we're going to play 2, 5, 1. So the first key is the key of C, so I'm going to play D minor 7, G7, C major 7. Okay, now I'm going to go to the key of F, so I've got to think of what 2 is of F, so that's G minor, C, 7, F major 7. All right, 2 of C, 2 of B flat, which is the C minor. Okay. Okay, and you can see how you can practice them in all sorts of ways. Now I could do maybe that, you know, minor 7 as a root position, and then just another inversion that kind of works, right? So when I go to the F7, I could do that to the B flat major 7. All right, that's a little bit more complex than just sticking to the root position once, but you can see that the fingers actually move a lot more simply, really, actually. Some of the most complex chords, theoretically, are some of the easiest to play. You know, there's F13, you know, but here, look, C minor 9. I'm just going to drop this B flat to an A. I didn't even change these. I didn't change these 3 notes, right? And I get an F13, you know, really cool. You know, so what I'm saying is some of the chords that are easy to play, you know, with your hand wise, but difficult to think of. So you want to get these chords into your muscle memory at some stage, right? It does take a while to think about them, but if you practice around the cycle of fourths, 2, 5, 1s, you've got pretty much every chord covered, right? Most chords are going to be minor, dominant, or major. There are exceptions to those rules. So of course you can practice around the cycle of fourths in the minor keys as well, which means you're going to have the minor 7 flat 5, the G7, and if you're going to stick to the key, if you're using a 9, it's going to be a flat 9 in the key of, you know, a minor key, right? So that's something you can think about too. But this next way of practicing actually covers the minor 7 flat 5 as well. And it's to practice every chord from each key going kind of up a fourth each time. All right, so well, it is going up a fourth, but it's not always a perfect fourth. All right, a perfect fourth is where you're going up like 4 notes of the scale, the note on the bottom being kind of thought of as the 1 note, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. If I started on F and went up a perfect fourth, I'd be hitting the B flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, because B flat belongs in the key of F, okay? But B flat doesn't belong in the key of C, all right? So when we go to the 4 chord and then to the 7 chord, we're not going to go up a perfect fourth, we're going to go up an augmented fourth, okay, which is a sharp 4, right? So we're going to go C major 7, F major 7. Now here's the interesting thing about doing this. The 7 chord is a B minor 7 flat 5, or the other way of talking about that is B half diminished, right? Here's C major 7, C7, C minor 7, C minor 7 flat 5, which really kind of spells it out for us, doesn't it? You know, but also, you know, there's the minor and there's the flat 5, but also it's known as C, this would be known as C half diminished, and a full diminished is where we lower the 7th again. All right, so that there technically, I mean, those notes, obviously that's an A, right? But technically C diminished 7 is C, E flat, G flat, and B double flat, because the B has been lowered twice. That's why it's called B double flat in that circumstance, all right? Hopefully that helps you anyway. I mean, sometimes it gets written as A as well, but the theory behind it is that it's a lowered 7th twice. Okay, so we're going C, F, B minor 7 flat 5, B minor 7, yeah, flat 5, E minor 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, C major 7. Now that's nice when you swap it around. Here's a different voicing. And you can see I'm just going down the key, right? Okay, and then change keys. So go up a semitone, go down a semitone, do the whole thing again, go around the cycle of fourths, change keys. I might go to let's go to the key of G, right? So, all right, so I've got my F sharp there. And so as I'm doing this, I can think, okay, what's my next chord? But I can also just think, well, I'm in the key of G, so just play all the white notes except for 1, right? Don't play the F, okay? Play the F sharp. So here's G major 7, C major 7. It does give you the added bonus, though, of helping you to know that, the 1 chord is major, the 4 chord's major, the 7 is is minor 7, the 3, the 6, and the 2, they're all minor. It does help you to think maybe a little bit like that sometimes if you want. G major 7, C major 7. So what am I going to go to? I'm going to go to F sharp, all right, F sharp minor 7, flat 5. Right, I'm literally just playing the notes of G, just making sure I don't play an F, basically. All right, so what do I got? I'm up to my 7, so the 3 is the A minor, all right? So, no, hang on, where am I up to? 3. I'm in the key of G. I thought I was in the key of F for a second because I'm talking about F so much, all right? All right, so we're in the key of that, so we're gonna, all right, so I'm still got that F sharp there up to the 6. I need to stop talking, don't I? All right, the 2, 5, 1. All right. Guys, hopefully that's helpful for you. There's a couple of different ways you can practice every chord, and yeah. Anyway, guys, hopefully I'll see you again real soon. Subscribe for some more, and we'll catch you soon.